The prison transport ship called the Crimson Maw moved through the darkness of space like a giant metal beast. Inside its cold corridors, hundreds of prisoners sat in their cells, waiting for their journey to end at Arcturus 7, the galaxy's most feared prison colony. Sat in his cell with his back against the wall. He was thin, too thin. His human body looked weak compared to the aliens around him. The nearby cells were twice his size, with scales like armor and claws that could tear through metal. The warriors had cybernetic arms and legs that made them faster and stronger than any natural being. Even the smallest aliens on this ship looked more dangerous than. A guard walked past his cell. The guard was with 4 arms and cold yellow eyes. He stopped and stared at. "Why is this one even here?" the guard said to his partner. "Look at him. Humans are so weak. No claws, no armor, nothing. What crime could he possibly commit?" The other guard laughed. "Trespassing. He walked into a restricted mining zone, probably got lost." Both guards walked away, still laughing. Did not react. He kept his eyes down and his breathing steady. He had learned long ago that looking weak was sometimes the best protection. In the cell across from him, a massive named pressed his face against the energy barrier. Was a warlord who had burned entire colonies. His red scales were covered in scars from 1,000 battles. "Human," called out, "look at me when I speak to you." Slowly lifted his head but said nothing. "When they bring food, you will give me your portion," said. His voice was like rocks grinding together. "You understand. A weak thing like you does not need much food anyway." Nodded once. It was easier to agree than to fight. Smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Good, you know your place." Other prisoners watched this exchange. Some laughed. Others shook their heads. Everyone knew the same thing. Humans were the weakest species in the galaxy. They had no natural weapons, no special abilities, no telepathy or strength. They were prey animals who had somehow learned to build spaceships. When the food came, took his tray through the small opening in his cell barrier. The meal was a gray paste that tasted like nothing. Before he could eat, banged on his barrier. "Human, bring it here." Stood slowly. His movements were careful, like someone who was always tired. He walked to the edge of his cell and pushed the tray through the gap between their barriers, grabbed it and ate without another word. Returned to his corner and sat down. His stomach was empty, but his face showed nothing. Hours passed. The ship hummed with the sound of its engines pushing through space. Guards walked their routes. Prisoners talked or slept or planned violence for when they reached Arcturus 7. Then a guard walked past carrying a data pad. He was talking to another guard about prisoner transfers. "They are moving the dangerous ones to reinforced cells," the first guard said. "What about prisoner 419? The second guard asked. "Still in maximum isolation. Level 9. That one does not get transferred anywhere." "Is it true, the stories about that human?" The first guard's voice dropped lower. "Every story is true. The ghost of 1,000 worlds. 10,000 kills across 47 systems. They say she can walk through walls and kill you before you know she is there." His eyes opened slightly. His breathing changed for just a moment, then returned to normal. But something had shifted in his expression. The guards moved on, their voices fatting. Around him, other prisoners had heard the conversation. A warrior in a nearby cell spoke up. "Another human on this ship, one of those legendary killers," he laughed. "Impossible, humans are weak. These stories are exaggerations." Growled in agreement. "Humans die easily. I have killed 3 myself. They break like twigs." But an older prisoner, with gray skin and hollow eyes, spoke from the shadows of his cell. "I have heard of this ghost. She is real. And if the stories are true, every criminal organization in the galaxy wants her dead." "Then why is she in a prison ship?" asked. "Why not execute her?" "Because no one can get close enough to try," the said quietly. The conversation faded. Prisoners returned to their business. but sat very still in his cell, his mind working behind his tired eyes. Night cycle came to the ship. The lights dimmed to save power. Most prisoners slept. Guards reduced their patrols to minimum crew. Closed his eyes but did not sleep. He counted the seconds between guard rotations. He listened to the hum of the ship's engines and the rhythm of the life support systems. His body might look weak, but his mind was sharp as ever. At 300 hours, something changed. The ship's hum shifted slightly, a difference so small that most would not notice, but noticed. His eyes opened. Then the lights went out. Emergency red lights flickered on throughout the ship. An alarm blared once, then stopped. The ship's engines stuttered. Power fluctuated through the corridors. Prisoners woke up confused. Guards shouted orders into their communication devices, but the devices were dead. The ship's main power was failing. In the distance, heard a sound that made his breath catch. The sound of heavy containment doors opening. The sound of energy barriers shutting down. Level 9 was unlocking. Stood in his cell, confused by the chaos. Other prisoners called out, asking what was happening. The sat up in his cell, and for the first time his hollow eyes showed fear. "She is free," the whispered. Then all the cell barriers shut down at once. Every prisoner on the ship was suddenly free to move. Chaos exploded through the corridors. Prisoners ran from their cells, screaming for revenge or escape. Guards tried to restore order but were overwhelmed. The ship had become a war zone in seconds. Stood slowly in his cell. The barrier was gone. He could walk out any time he wanted, but he did not move yet. He stood there in the red emergency light, listening. Somewhere deep in the ship, someone was moving. Someone was coming. His lips moved silently, forming a name he had not spoken in 5 years. The prison ship drifted through space, powerless and burning from the inside. And in the darkness between the stars, the real hunt was about to begin. The corridors of the Crimson Maw had become a battlefield. Prisoners ran wild through the ship, fighting guards and each other. In the red emergency lighting, shadows moved like demons. Screams echoed off the metal walls. Moved through the chaos like a ghost. He stayed close to the walls, avoiding the main fights. His steps were quiet despite the noise around him. Other prisoners ran past him without a second look. After all, what threat could one thin human be? He made his way toward the cargo bay. It was the largest open space on the ship, and in a riot like this, people would gather there. Resources were stored there. Weapons, tools, everything desperate prisoners would want. When reached the cargo bay entrance, he stopped. Inside, he could hear voices. Many voices. Was there, shouting orders. The warlord had already gathered a gang of followers, 20 or more prisoners who saw an opportunity for power. Stepped through the entrance. The cargo bay was massive, filled with stacked containers and supply crates. Emergency lights cast long shadows across everything. Stood in the center with his gang surrounding him. "The human," said when he spotted, "Come here, little thing. We need someone to check the containers for traps." Walked forward slowly. He kept his hands visible, his posture weak. Several of his gang laughed at how pathetic he looked. But before could give more orders, every prisoner in the cargo bay suddenly went quiet. A feeling filled the air, like cold water down the spine. Predator instinct that all living things share, the sense that something dangerous was near. The shadows in the far corner of the cargo bay moved differently than they should. A figure stepped out of the darkness. She was human-like, female in her 30s with black hair pulled back tight. She wore the same gray prison uniform as everyone else, but on her it looked different. She moved with perfect balance, every muscle controlled. Her eyes scanned the room like a hunter watching prey. "That is her," someone whispered, "the ghost." Walked forward into the light. Her steps made no sound. In her hand was a small blade she had taken from somewhere, probably from a guard who no longer needed it. His gang backed away instinctively. They had fought wars. They had killed before. But something about this human woman made their instincts scream danger. "Stop right there," commanded, trying to sound brave. "This cargo bay is mine now. Leave or die." Did not stop walking. Her eyes moved past his gang and locked onto. Recognition flashed in her eyes. For a moment her controlled expression broke, showing surprise, relief, and something deeper. Pain, maybe, or joy. It was hard to tell. She said softly. The word echoed in the quiet cargo bay. Looked between and confused. "What did you say?" She called him brother, the said from the entrance. He had followed to watch what happened. In the human language. Laughed loud and cruel. "Brother, this weak thing is your brother." He grabbed by the arm and pulled him close. "Listen, human female, I do not care about your reputation. Those stories are just stories. Humans are weak. This one could not even protect his own food. So here is what will happen. You will leave this cargo bay or I will break your brother's neck." His claws wrapped around his throat, the sharp points pressed against skin. One squeeze and would die. "Your choice," said. "Leave or watch him die." The cargo bay was silent. Everyone waited to see what the legendary ghost would do. Looked at, her expression was unreadable. Then she saw something that made her stop. Was smiling, just slightly, but he was smiling. "You should have taken the warning," said. His voice was different now. Not weak or tired. Cold and controlled like ice over deep water. Things happened very fast after that. His body shifted. His arm moved up and pressed against a specific point on his wrist. The grip loosened instantly, his hand going numb from a nerve strike. Twisted out of the hold, moving faster than anyone expected. His elbow drove into his ribs, hitting the gap between scales that few people knew existed. Stumbled back, shocked. His gang moved forward to help, but was already among them. She moved like water and wind. The blade in her hand flashed. One gang member fell, then another. She did not waste movements. Every action had purpose. Every strike found its target. Fought next to her. His style was different from hers but equally effective. He used the environment, throwing crates to block paths, using containers as shields. He knew exactly where to strike to make larger aliens fall. Pressure points, nerve clusters, weak spots in armor, he knew them all. Watched in growing horror as his gang fell apart. These were not weak humans. These were predators disguised as prey. "Impossible," breathed. "You were weak, I saw you, you gave me your food, you followed my orders." Stood between and the exit now. His posture was completely different, balanced, ready, dangerous. "I was tired," said simply. "And I did not want to fight, but you made a mistake, you threatened family." Finished with the last of the gang members. She walked to stand beside, her blade clean despite everything. Brother and sister stood together, and now everyone in the cargo bay could see the truth. These were not ordinary humans. These were something else entirely. "Who are you?" asked. "I trained her," said, nodding toward. 10 years ago. Everything she knows I taught her first." The at the entrance spoke up, his voice filled with awe and fear. "The ghost of 1,000 worlds, that is what they call her, but if he trained her..." His eyes widened. "You are the first ghost, the one from the stories, the human who taught his species how to fight." Other prisoners who had gathered to watch began backing away. The first ghost was a legend, a nightmare story told to scare criminal organizations. He had disappeared 5 years ago, and everyone assumed he was dead. But he was not dead. He had been hiding in plain sight, looking weak, being ignored. Turn 2, "Why are you here? This is a prison transport." "Looking for you," said. "When I heard you were arrested, I let them capture me too. I planned to break us out during transport." "The power failure." "My people outside, they are waiting with a ship." Nodded slowly. Then alarms blared through the cargo bay. New alarms, different from before. The ship's communication system crackled to life. "Attention all personnel," a voice announced. It was the ship's captain, "Commander, We have received a distress signal response. A battle fleet is en route. Estimated arrival 40 minutes. All guards to emergency stations. His expression darkened. That is too fast, we need to leave now. But was looking at the other prisoners, still on his knees in the doorway. These were criminals, yes, but the fleet would not care about guilt or innocence. They would destroy the entire ship. Your people, said two, can they take more than two? Understood immediately, you want to save them. I want them to choose, said, stay and die or help us fight. Commander's voice came through the speakers again. I need someone who can restore power to the weapon systems. Anyone with technical knowledge, report to the bridge. I will grant full pardons to anyone who helps save this ship. Looked at the prisoners around him. That is your choice. Run and die alone or stand and fight together. Stood up slowly, he stared at with new understanding. You are serious, you would fight an entire fleet. I have fought worse odds, said simply. The warlord was quiet for a long moment. Then he laughed, but this time with respect instead of cruelty. I have underestimated humans my whole life. I will not make that mistake again. I will fight with you, first Ghost. Other prisoners stepped forward. Not all of them, but enough. The cargo bay had become an unlikely alliance. And in the darkness of space, the fleet was getting closer. The bridge of the Crimson Maw was in chaos when it arrived. Guards pointed weapons at them until Commander waved them down. Let them through, said. He was a large with 4 arms and battle scars across his face. His yellow eyes studied carefully. You are the one who fought in the cargo bay. The prisoners say you move like a trained warrior. I was trained, admitted, and I can help you fight the fleet. But first we need to know the truth. Why are they coming so fast? Prison ships do not get battle fleet responses. Was quiet for a moment, then nodded. You are right to question it. I received a coded message before communications went down. The fleet was already close by, waiting for our distress signal. This was planned, said. Her voice was cold with anger. Someone wanted us both on this ship. Someone wanted the fleet to destroy us. A voice came from the corner of the bridge. Someone wanted to kill you before you became a bigger problem. Everyone turned. A woman in maintenance uniform stood up from behind a console. She was human, young, with grease on her hands and tired eyes. Who are you? Commander demanded. My name is, the woman said. I am an engineer, but I also work with network. I was placed on this ship 3 months ago, waiting. Waiting for what? Asked. For you, said, looking at him. We knew they would try to capture you eventually. The Convergence has been hunting human operatives for 2 years now. The Convergence, his expression changed. The alliance between the Empire, the Dominion, and the Collective. Nodded. They fear humanity. They have studied our history, our wars, our ability to adapt. They believe that in 100 years, humans will dominate the galaxy if left unchecked. So they started eliminating our best fighters quietly, making them disappear, calling them criminals. Felt something cold settle in his chest. He had disappeared 5 years ago because he thought he deserved punishment. But maybe his arrest was not random. Maybe they had been waiting for him to surface. How many? He asked quietly. How many human operatives have they killed? His face was grim. 43 that we know of. You two would have been 44 and 45. The bridge was silent. Even the guards looked uncomfortable. The Convergence was supposed to be a peacekeeping alliance, but this was assassination, pure and simple. Why tell us now? Commander asked. Why not stay hidden? Because the fleet is coming to destroy this entire ship, said. Prisoners, guards, crew, everyone. They cannot let word of this operation get out. I was supposed to escape before the attack, but I will not leave innocent people to die. His 4 hands clenched into fists. My crew is on this ship, good people, and the Convergence would kill them just to eliminate 2 humans. To them, it is worth it, said. We are the problem they want to solve. Everyone else is just collateral damage. A communication console beeped. Another voice came through, this one speaking human language. "Can you hear me? I am outside in the stealth ship. What is your status?" Move to the console. "We have a situation. Convergence fleet incoming. We need extraction, but we cannot leave the ship's crew to die." "Understood," his voice crackled. "I have been scanning their fleet. 8 heavy cruisers, 20 support ships. You cannot fight that with a damaged prison transport." "We do not need to fight them all," said, leaning toward the console. "We just need to make them reconsider. Can you get a message to other ships in this sector?" "What kind of message?" "The truth. Tell them the Convergence is about to commit mass murder to hide a political assassination. Make it public." There was silence on the other end. Then spoke again, understanding in his voice. "You want to turn this into a scandal, force them to back down or face consequences." "Will it work?" asked. "Only if we survive long enough for the message to spread," said. "Which means we need to restore this ship's defenses and fight." Commander brought up a tactical display. "We have power for weapons, but only 30%. Shields are at 20%. The fleet will tear through us in minutes." "Then we do not fight like they expect," said, studying the display. "Can you reroute power from non-essential systems?" "Already working on it," said, her hands flying over the engineering console. "I can give you another 10% to shields, but life support will drop in empty sections." "Do it," ordered. Then he looked at, "You have a plan." "The fight with overwhelming force," said. "They will come straight at us expecting an easy kill. We use that. Stealth ship harasses their flanks while we focus all power on forward shields. Make them think we are trying to run. Draw them into a formation." "And then what?" one of the guards asked. "We are still outnumbered." Smiled, and it was not a kind smile. "Then we show them what happens when you underestimate humans." The plan came together quickly. Prisoners who had fought in the cargo bay volunteered for weapon stations. Himself took control of the main cannon, his warrior instincts understanding the tactics immediately. The used his telepathy to coordinate communication between stations without using the damaged communication system. Worked with the ship's engineers, pushing the old engines to their limits. Power flowed through restored circuits, bringing damaged systems back online. Stood at the tactical station next to. "Like old times," she said quietly. "You were just a student back then," replied. "You were just my teacher. Now we are equals." Looked at her and nodded. "Yes, we are." The first ships appeared on the scanners. 8 massive cruisers, their weapons already charging. They moved in formation, confident and deadly. "Here they come," announced. "All stations prepare for combat." But then something unexpected happened. Other ships began appearing on the scanners. Small vessels, trading ships, independent freighters. They had received message. They were not coming to fight, but they were watching, their sensors recording everything. The fleet commander must have seen them too. His formation hesitated, slowing down. "He knows," said. "He knows this is being recorded now." "Will he still attack?" asked. Watched the display. "Yes, he has his orders, but now he has to be careful. He cannot just destroy us. He needs to make it look justified." The fleet split into 3 groups. One group moved to cut off escape routes. Another positioned to destroy stealth ship if it tried to help. The main group came straight at the prison transport, weapons ready. "They are going to board us," said. "They will claim we are dangerous prisoners trying to escape. Make it look like self-defense." "Then we give them what they want," said. "We let them board, but we choose where they board." He pointed to a section of the ship on the display. "Engineering deck, section 7. It has narrow corridors and heavy blast doors, perfect for an ambush." Understood immediately. "We let them think they are winning, then trap them." "Exactly. Take your best fighters to section 7. Keep the main cannon firing, make them think we are desperate. When I give the signal, seal all the doors in that section." Everyone moved to their positions. The fleet came closer, their boarding ships launching from the cruisers. They approached the damaged prison transport like predators circling wounded prey. Stood on the bridge, watching the enemy ships get closer. Beside him, Commander gripped his weapons nervously. "This plan is insane," said. "I know," replied. "That is why it will work. They still think we are weak. They still think humans cannot fight. Let them keep thinking that until it is too late." The first boarding ship attached to the hull with a heavy clang. Cutting torches began burning through the outer door. "They are inside," a guard reported. His expression was calm. "Good, let them come." In the narrow corridors of Section 7, weighted with 20 fighters. They had turned off the lights, hiding in the darkness. The soldiers came through the breach confident and armed, expecting frightened prisoners. They found death instead. The trap closed. The fight had truly begun. The soldiers poured into Section 7, expecting easy prey. They found something very different. Struck first from the shadows, her blade found the gap between armor plates on the first soldier's neck. He fell without a sound. The second soldier barely had time to raise his weapon before a massive fist crushed his helmet. The corridor erupted into chaos, but it was controlled chaos, planned chaos. Every defender knew their position. Every attack was coordinated. They had strength and armor, but they were fighting in tight spaces against opponents who knew every corner. On the bridge, watched the tactical display. Seal Section 7, trap them inside. Heavy blast doors slammed shut throughout the section. They were cut off from their boarding ships, trapped with angry prisoners who had nothing left to lose. "The other boarding ships are pulling back," a guard reported. "They did not expect resistance." "They are calling for reinforcements," said, watching his scanners. "2 more cruisers are moving into position." Nodded. This was the difficult part. They had won the first round, but the battle was far from over. The commander would not stop. He had his orders to eliminate the humans, and failure would mean his own death. Called into the communication console. "How many witnesses are watching now?" His voice came back. 43 ships in sensor range. Most are recording. Your message is spreading through the sector, but the fleet is preparing a massive bombardment. They are going to destroy the ship from a distance. How long do we have? 10 minutes, maybe less. Commander slammed his fist on the console. We cannot evacuate everyone in 10 minutes. Even with your stealth ship, we could only save a handful. Then we do not evacuate, said. His mind was racing, calculating possibilities. We need more time. We need to make them hesitate. What could make an entire battle fleet hesitate? Asked. Looked at the tactical display, studying the formation of the ships. They were positioned to bombard the prison transport while staying at a safe distance. Smart tactics, conservative tactics, the tactics of an enemy who wanted to win without risk. An idea formed in his mind. It was dangerous, maybe impossible, but it was the only chance they had. The fleet wants to destroy us quietly, said. Make it look like an accident or a justified response. But what if we make that impossible? What if we force them to face consequences? I do not understand, said. Communication, explained. We open a channel to every ship in sensor range. We broadcast everything. What the convergence is doing, why they are here, what they fear about humanity. Make it public. Make it so the entire galaxy is watching. His eyes widened. If the attack while everyone is watching, it becomes an incident, a political disaster. Exactly, said. They can kill us, but they cannot hide it anymore. His voice came through excited. I can amplify your signal, broadcast it across multiple frequencies. Every ship in 10 light years will receive it. Do it, ordered. Then he turned to Commander. I need you to make a choice. Your crew is in danger because of me, and we can leave right now, take the attention with us. Give your people a chance to escape. was quiet for a long moment. His yellow eyes studied carefully. You really would leave, sacrifice yourself to save people you do not know? Yes. The commander made a sound that might have been a laugh. I have spent my life guarding prisoners. Criminals, murderers, traitors. I believed I knew who the bad people were. But the convergence is killing innocents to maintain power, and you are offering to die to save strangers. Maybe I have been wrong about a lot of things. He stood up, all four arms moving to work different consoles. We stay, we fight, and we show the galaxy what the convergence really is. Felt a weight lift from his chest. He was not alone anymore. He had allies willing to stand with him. Open the channel, said, broadcast to everyone. Worked quickly, routing power through the communication system. A light blinked green, indicating they were transmitting across multiple frequencies. Spoke clearly into the microphone. My name is I am human. 5 years ago, I was part of Earth's special operations. I trained soldiers to protect human colonies. Then I disappeared because I believed I had failed, that I deserved punishment. But my arrest was not justice. It was an assassination attempt by the convergence. He paused, letting his words sink in. Across the sector, dozens of ships were receiving this message. Traders, merchants, colony ships, maybe even military vessels from other species. The convergence fears humanity, continued. Not because we are strong, but because we are adaptable. We learn fast. We survive. We do not give up. In 100 years, they believe humans will be too powerful to control, so they decided to eliminate us now while we are still weak. Moved to stand beside him. She spoke into the microphone, her voice carrying the weight of 10,000 battles. They have killed 43 human operatives in secret. They plan to kill us today, and they are willing to destroy this entire ship, crew and prisoners, just to hide their crime. On the tactical display, the fleet's formation shifted. They were confused, hesitating. The commander had to be receiving reports that their operation was being broadcast across the sector. We are being hailed, a guard said. The fleet commander wants to speak. Put him through, ordered. A new voice filled the bridge, deep and angry. This is Fleet Commander of the Empire. You are spreading lies and propaganda. Our mission is to secure dangerous criminals, nothing more. Then why did you come with 8 cruisers for a damaged transport ship? Asked calmly. Why were you already waiting nearby? Why try to board us with kill teams instead of arrest squads? Silence on the other end. You cannot answer, continued, because the truth exposes everything. The convergence is not here for justice. You are here for murder. Enough, roared. You are criminals. Your words mean nothing. Then let an independent investigation prove that, said. Let neutral parties examine this situation. If we are criminals, you have nothing to fear from transparency. Another long silence, then spoke again, and his voice was colder than before. You have forced my hand. I gave you a chance to surrender quietly. Now you will die publicly. Let the galaxy watch. The communication cut off. On the tactical display, all 8 cruisers charged their main weapons simultaneously. He is really going to do it, whispered. He is going to destroy us with everyone watching. The convergence does not back down, said quietly. They would rather face political consequences than let us live. Stared at the display. They had minutes at most. All their planning, all their fighting, and it came down to this. They were going to die, but at least the truth would survive. Then's console beeped urgently. New contacts on sensors. Multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. The display updated. New ships were appearing around the fleet, dozens of them. Ship designs recognized from multiple species and governments. What is happening? Asked. His voice came through, excited and relieved. The message spread faster than we thought. These are response ships, peacekeepers, trade vessels with defensive capabilities, even some military observers. They heard your broadcast. They came to watch. Commander laughed in disbelief. They came to witness. The commander cannot attack now without starting an interstellar incident. On the display, the fleet's weapons began powering down. Their formation broke apart, moving into a defensive posture instead of an aggressive one. Another communication came through. A different voice this time, calm and formal. This is mediator of the Independent Arbitration Council. We have received reports of illegal military action in this sector. All parties are ordered to stand down and submit to neutral investigation. Closed his eyes and breathed. They had done it. They had survived. But when he opened his eyes again, he saw something on the tactical display that made his blood run cold. One of the cruisers was not powering down. It was still charging weapons, moving closer to the prison transport. "That ship is not responding to orders," said urgently. "It is going to fire." "It is," said. He would rather die than fail his mission. The cruiser's weapons reached full charge. Its main cannon aimed directly at the bridge of the prison transport. There was no time to dodge, no time to raise shields. The shot would destroy them in seconds. Stood frozen, watching his death approach. He had survived so much, fought so hard, but some battles could not be won. Then stealth ship appeared between them and the cruiser. The small vessel took the full force of the blast meant for the prison transport. A screamed. The stealth ship exploded in a flash of light and debris. The brave pilot had sacrificed himself to save them. And his sacrifice had consequences. The explosion lit up the darkness of space like a dying star. Stealth ship was gone, sacrificed to save them. But his death had witnesses. Dozens of ships had seen the cruiser fire without provocation, killing an unarmed pilot who was trying to protect a damaged transport. The communication channels erupted with outrage. Ships from multiple species demanded answers. The Independent Arbitration Council immediately declared the action a war crime. Even other convergence allies began distancing themselves from the attack. On the bridge of the prison transport stood frozen. Her hands gripped the console so tightly that her knuckles turned white. Moved beside her, placing a hand on her shoulder. "He saved us," said quietly. "He chose this." "I know," whispered, "but that does not make it easier." Commander's voice broke through their grief. "The fleet is breaking formation. Most ships are retreating, but cruiser is still coming. He has lost everything now. This is suicide." The rogue cruiser charged forward, weapons firing wildly. It was no longer trying to hide the assassination. It was simply trying to kill them before being destroyed itself. "All power to forward shields," ordered. "Target their engine section. Do not give them a clean shot." The prison transport's main cannon fired. Aim was perfect, honed by years of warfare. The blast struck the cruiser's engine, causing a chain reaction. The massive warship spun out of control, its weapons going dark. Small explosions rippled across the cruiser's hull. It was dying, but it was not dead yet. Emergency thrusters tried to stabilize it, pointing it toward one final collision course with the prison transport. "He is ramming us," shouted. "Impact in 30 seconds." There was no time to move the damaged prison transport. The cruiser was too close, moving too fast. Made a decision. Everyone abandon the bridge, get to the escape pods. "What about you?" asked. "I will stay. Maybe I can change our course enough to survive." "No," said firmly. "We do this together or not at all. You taught me that we never abandon family." Looked at her and saw the same determination he had trained into her years ago. She would not leave. Neither would he. "Then we both stay," he said. "Everyone else evacuate now. That is an order." Commander hesitated, then nodded. "It has been an honor." He and the bridge crew ran toward the escape pods. "Stayed behind. I am an engineer. If anyone can change course, it is me." She was already working on the console before they could argue. 10 seconds to impact. The dying cruiser filled their view screen, getting larger every second. His fingers flew across the controls. I am rerouting all power to starboard thrusters. It will not be enough to dodge, but maybe enough to survive. 5 seconds. The prison transport groaned as emergency thrusters fired at full power. The massive ship began turning, slowly, too slowly. 3 seconds. Hold on, said. The cruiser struck the prison transport's port side in a shower of sparks and tearing metal. The impact threw everyone to the floor. Alarms screamed. Lights flickered and died. When the shaking stopped, pushed himself up. His head was bleeding, but he was alive. Beside him was already on her feet, checking. I am fine, said, coughing, but the ship is not. We are venting atmosphere from 12 sections. Main power is gone. We are dead in space. But we are alive, said. That is what matters. Outside, the cruiser drifted past them, completely dark. Suicide mission had failed. The assassination attempt had failed. And now the entire galaxy knew the truth about the convergence. Over the next hours, rescue ships arrived. The Independent Arbitration Council sent medical teams and engineers. Other species sent supplies and support. Even some ships came, not to attack but to help, their crews ashamed of what their commander had tried to do. Commander coordinated the rescue efforts. His crew had survived. Most of the prisoners had survived. Against impossible odds, they had won. 3 days later, and stood in a temporary medical station on a neutral space platform. They had been treated for their injuries and were ready to leave, but they had nowhere to go. Earth will want you back, said. She had stayed with them, refusing to leave until she knew they were safe. You are heroes. The galaxy knows what you did. Heroes, repeated quietly. I do not feel like a hero, died because of me. Died saving hundreds of innocent people, said firmly. He knew what he was doing. He made his choice. Nodded slowly. She was right, but the guilt still felt heavy. A communication terminal beeped, checked it and smiled. You have visitors. The door opened. A group of humans walked in, 12 of them, all different ages and backgrounds. Recognized some faces. Former soldiers, engineers, pilots, people he had trained or worked with years ago. We heard what happened, a woman named said. She had been one of his first students. The story spread across every human colony. The man who taught us to fight came back. I did not come back, said. I was arrested. But you fought, a young man named said. When you could have stayed hidden, you fought. You showed the galaxy that humans are not weak. Stepped forward. For 5 years we tried to continue your work. Small operations, protecting colonies, training others, but we lacked direction. We needed someone to lead us. I am not a leader, said. I am just a soldier who got tired. You are the first ghost, said quietly. The one who taught us that humans could be predators instead of prey. Whether you want it or not, people looked to you. Looked at the faces around him. These were not soldiers waiting for orders. They were people who had chosen to fight, to protect, to stand against those who would hurt the weak. They reminded him why he had started this path so many years ago. What do you want from me? He asked. Help us build something better, said. Not a military force, but a network. Humans across the galaxy working together, protecting each other. The convergence tried to eliminate us because they feared what we could become. Let us show them they were right to be afraid. Was quiet for a long moment, then he looked at, what do you think? I think I did not spend 10 years searching for you just to let you disappear again, she said. I think the galaxy needs to learn that underestimating humans is a fatal mistake, and I think we should teach them together. A small smile crossed his face. It was the first real smile he had felt in 5 years. Together, he repeated, I like that word. He turned to the group. I will help you, but not as a commander, as a partner. We build this network together, all of us equal. Agreed, said. Others nodded. Cleared her throat. You will need engineers, safe houses, supply chains. I know people who can help. "You want to join us?" asked. "Someone has to keep you two alive," said with a slight smile. "Besides, I am tired of hiding what humans can do." More people began arriving over the following days. Not just fighters, but doctors, engineers, teachers, pilots. Humans from across the galaxy who had heard the story and wanted to be part of something larger. They met in a simple restaurant on the neutral station. It was run by a Korean family who had fled Earth decades ago. The smell of familiar food filled the air, reminding them all of home. And sat together, eating in comfortable silence. Around them, their growing network talked and planned and dreamed of a future where humans stood as equals in the galaxy. "Do you think it will work?" asked quietly. "Can we really change how the galaxy sees us?" Thought about everything that had happened. The prison transport, the battle, the sacrifice, the survival. They had been outnumbered but they had won because they refused to give up. "The galaxy has always underestimated humans," said. "They see our small bodies and soft skin and think we are weak. They do not see our minds, our determination, our ability to adapt and overcome. Every time they push us down, we stand back up. That is what makes us dangerous." "And that is what they fear," added. "Yes, but fear can lead to respect. We just need to show them that humans are not victims waiting to be saved. We are survivors who will fight for our place in the stars." Through the window of the restaurant, they could see ships coming and going from the station. Humans moving through the galaxy, no longer hiding what they were. Somewhere in the darkness, the Convergence was watching. They had failed to eliminate humanity's best fighters. They had exposed their own crimes to the galaxy. They had made humans into martyrs and heroes instead of forgotten casualties. And in a secret meeting room on a distant planet, shadowy figures discussed their failure. "The first ghost has returned," one figure said, "and he is building an army." "Not an army," another corrected. "A network, something harder to fight." "Then we must accelerate our plans. If humanity is truly waking up, if they are organizing, we need to be ready." Ready for what? For the day when humans are no longer the weak species. For the day when they become the predators. The meeting ended, but the fear remained. The Convergence had tried to eliminate humanity's threat before it grew too large. Instead, they had given humans a reason to unite. They had given them heroes to rally behind. Back on the neutral station, stood looking out at the stars. Joined him, standing at his side as she had done for 10 years. "What are you thinking?" she asked. "That I spent 5 years running from who I was," said, "thinking I did not deserve to fight anymore, but I was wrong. The galaxy does not care about what we deserve, it only cares about what we do." "And what will we do?" Smiled, and this time it was not tired or sad, it was determined. "We will show them," he said simply. "We will show the entire galaxy what happens when you underestimate humanity. We will build something they cannot ignore, cannot stop, cannot underestimate ever again." Together. Together, confirmed. Brother and sister, teacher and student, two humans who refused to stay down. They stood there watching the stars, knowing that their fight was far from over. The Convergence was still out there. Threats still existed, but they were not alone anymore. And across the galaxy, other humans were watching the same stars, learning the same lesson. They were not weak. They were not prey. They were survivors, fighters, and builders of a future that no one could predict. The galaxy had underestimated them. That mistake would change everything.